Hi, I'm Tony Njoro. Now, news and sport are my life.
But I also have restaurants specializing in traditional South African cuisine. So I'm going on a quest to find the best local produce. In order to do that,
I need to find the best local producers.
I know a bit about farming through some of my previous presenting work, but I'm really looking forward to learning firsthand what goes into producing the freshest, most nutritious and delicious produce. Our farmers play such an important role in producing the ingredients that keep us healthy and our culture alive.
Mzansi, are you ready?
Then, what are we waiting for?
I'm here in the Vaal, about 70 kilometers just outside of Johannesburg. I'm visiting Amos Njoro. Now, he's a great farmer. He's farming mealies, which is maize. He's farming soya. He's got another operation in the northwest as well. We'll talk to him about that. But I want to ask him about the recent heavy rains that we've had throughout the country, and especially here in Gauteng. How has that affected his farming operation? Looking forward to talking to him. Amos.
Tony.
How's it, boss?
Good, and you, man?
I'm good. Thank you so much for giving us some time on this amazing operation that you have. We're going to talk all about your farm very shortly, but do you drink coffee?
Yes, Tony.
Every morning?
Every morning.
Every morning. I've got some nice coffee for you that I brought from Johannesburg. Let's go get some.
All right, that would be good.
Sure, cool. So Amos, let's talk a little bit about yourself. I know after matric, you wanted to become a teacher. And how did you end up getting into farming?
After finishing my matric, I wanted to be a teacher. It was a dream those days for any or every young man.
Yeah.
You know how the teachers would look at school. Then you get motivated to dress like them. They were driving cars. Unfortunately or fortunately, my parents couldn't afford to pay for me at the College of Education. I went to work as a security guard. I saw on a newspaper advertisement for bursaries for agriculture. I just threw a letter. Here's an opportunity. I grabbed it with two hands. And here I am in a career that was not my first choice.
So what did you study?
I studied diploma in agriculture. And then from there, I was appointed as an extension officer, Department of Agriculture. And then I furthered my studies while I was there doing project management, B.Tech agricultural management, and several certificates to develop myself in this field of agriculture.
So here, we are right here on your farm, on this particular operation, 50 kilometers out of Johannesburg, the big city and so forth. You're staying here with the three of your children. Tell me about your kids.
Firstly, I'm married.
Yes.
I have a wife, Ya-rona Njoro, and then we have 3 kids. Now, the other one has done a degree in communication, the firstborn.
Yeah.
And the boy is here with me in the farm. He's a successor.
Yeah.
He's the one who's running most of the things here. I'm developing him. He will take over so that feeding the nation is our motto.
Yeah.
Goes on and on and on.
Okay.
And then the little one is still at the primary school. She is also very passionate about the farm. In fact, she's telling even the brother that you must know that this is my farm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over. Look, if you ask me about my life philosophy, God comes first. And fortunately, I'm also a farmer. You know, we rely on Him.
Yeah.
But for me, the most important thing is to be able to provide for myself, for my family, and to help. If I can be able to do those, I'm fine with life. It makes me so happy to help someone.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So many people want to get into farming, but farming is more of a passion, isn't it? You can look at it as a career, but you have to want to be a farmer. Am I correct to say that?
Passion first. not your qualifications or your energy or whether you have land or you have machinery. Without passion, you are out. Because there are times whereby your tractors are there, big tractors, money can be there, workers can be there. Then the natural conditions doesn't allow. But passion will drive you. There's nothing as good as looking at those trailers getting out of the farm, knowing that deep in the bushes away from Johannesburg or Cape Town, trailers are going out to feed them. It makes me so happy.
So Amos, I hear you talking about the passion for farming. You know, let's go a little bit back to your childhood. Is that passion for farming maybe coming from there? Any your parents, maybe your grandparents, was their farming involved at some point?
I grew up in a family. Every Saturday, the grandfathers, they will send us to the traditional fields where we have to work on the fields there, cleaning between the rows and carrying the bags of maize from far to home.
Yeah.
Then we harvest it by hands. And then other weekend, we had to go to the cattle camps, spend the whole day there looking after cattle. Now, I remember that time I wanted to play with other kids on Saturday and I have to go there. But today I don't regret.
Yeah. So you've also worked for the Department of Agriculture, you've worked for Grain SA. How much of that has influenced what you're actually farming today, the crop that you're farming today?
I'm not just a farmer, but I can also analyze what I'm doing. For example, I would tell farmers, you don't have to plant 500 hectares because the other person planted 500.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, it's not about how big you planted, but it's about how effective you utilized what is available.
So there you have it. Amos's life philosophy is you got to have passion and faith. That's how he's stood the test of time. I'm sure like me, you want to know the nuts and bolts of this wonderful, wonderful operation here. Amos, are you ready to take me through your farm?
Yes, we can go through the farm.
Fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the coffee, but let's pack up and you can show me around. So welcome back, Mzansi. It's time now to get onto the ground and look at exactly what Amos Njoro is doing on his farm. We are 50 kilometers outside of Johannesburg in the Vaal. He is farming maize and also soya. He's going to take us through exactly what he does on the ground. And also we'll ask him how the heavy rains have affected this operation. Amos, you're planting on the one side there, you've got soya, on the other side, you've got maize. How many hectares have you dedicated to each crop?
Yeah, this year, due to the climate challenge, a lot of rains that we have, we have planted 60 hectares of maize and then 50 hectares of soya. But normally, year by year, we plant 260 hectares in total, whereby in this farm it's 115 hectares, and then we have another farm in Calfontein where we lease for maize, where we plant the balance of the hectares.
Let's talk about the heavy rains that we've witnessed. How has that affected you? I mean, I can see on the ground here, you can see you've had a lot of rain, a lot of flooding. How did that affect you?
You, man, hey, Tony, we had a terrible year. We couldn't finish planting the lands in time. But as you can look on the ground here, it's the result of the flood. The water was flowing. We couldn't get into the lands for almost 2 months. It was raining every day.
Yeah.
You know, for any crop, it needs the sun, quality sunlight for a certain number of days.
Yeah.
Now, the grain quality might be affected, the crop quality, but we're hoping maybe for a miracle recovery.
Yeah.
But we know for sure that there is a bit of a knock.
I just want to take you back a little bit. Earlier on, we were speaking about the bigger farm in Rustenburg.
Yes.
I know you have cattle there. You spoke about the cattle and the rainfalls that we've had. How did that affect your cattle operation, if it did?
Yeah, you see, with the rainfall, when it gets to cattle, it's the opposite. Obviously, you have good grazing.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing to a cattle farmer, but now a lot of rain also comes with the ticks, the worms. It means an increase on your management when it comes to the health part of your animals. Also the dipping, you dip and then the rain flush it, you dip, it flush it. But the effects are less compared to the benefit. So in fact, for animal production, it's good.
As an African farmer, obviously, when you started out, you were looking for assistance in many different ways, whether it was from the private sector, whether it was from government. Talk to me about that. Was it difficult initially, and did you receive some sort of assistance?
Yeah, beginning or starting, it's not easy. But it goes back also to passion. Passion will drive you. Yeah, we did several applications and requests. And then, the government helped us with the recap program. We used that assistance so well that it opened doors for us, that other companies can also see that this farmer is able to utilize money.
Yeah.
And then later on, we got some sponsors. They could see that there is passion, there is job creation, there's food security, there is commitment, and they assisted us. Now, I always tell people, it's not about you have money to start. You must have the brain, the plan. What is it? Convince the person, what is it that you will achieve, want and will achieve? And then prove that you are committed. Prove that you will contribute towards job security and food security. Those are critical things.
What would you say to a young person who wants to get into farming today?
Yeah, we go back again to passion. You can develop it.
Yeah.
You can develop love. Yeah. And then commitment, patience. Yeah, it's not easy come. As you know, easy come will be easy go.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. Now you need to be informed. The climate, you must be good also in calculating. What have you put in? What is it that you got back?
Yeah.
Yes.
When I look at your maize produce, it reminds me of when we're making our pap in our restaurant. When I invite you over, what's your favorite pap dish? Yeah.
I'm a pap man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite dish is pap. Even at home, my wife knows that now and then there must be pap. And beef also.
Beef?
Yeah, stew.
Okay. All right, so I know what to make for you when you come through. Perfect. Amos, here's my $1 million question. If I could grant you anything you wanted in the world, just one wish right now as a farmer, what do you wish for?
As a farmer, my wish is the legacy, what I am, what I'm doing, to be carried over to the other generation. I wish my son can take over from what I'm doing to farm, so that when I'm no longer farming, the dream goes on and on and on. And I wish this can go from generation to generation. Remember, without food, there's no life.
Amos Njoro's farming operation was born from passion, built on faith, and is sustained daily by hard work. With or without rain, Amos Njoro has the spirit to endure, and I'm so glad I got to meet him.
Welcome back, Mzansi, to African farming. Now, despite all our accomplishments and claims of sophistication, we humans owe our very existence to a 6-inch layer of topsoil and the fact that it also rains. But of all the variables in farming, the weather is perhaps the hardest to predict, as farmer Amos Njoro experienced firsthand. Now, after visiting his operation, it's now time to ask our experts about dealing with unexpected high rainfall or other similar weather events. Joining us in studio are Praveen Dwarika from Limang. Praveen, good to have you with us.
Good to be here. Thank
We've
you.
also got Nico Groeneveld from Standard Bank. Nico, you well?
Thanks, good to be here.
Fantastic. Dr. Bati Dungu from AgriSeta. Doc.
Morning, thank you for having me here.
Fantastic. Louis Stale also joins us from Bonsmara, SA, on behalf of Vleis Central. I got that right.
Thank you very much, Tony. Nice to be here.
Good to have you, Louis. Let me start with you on the far side there, Praveen, and talk about the fact that, the impact of such heavy rainfall. Farmers love rainfall. 100%, but we're not expecting so much rainfall as we saw from Amos. Talk to me a little bit about the impact that such heavy rainfall had on the different commodities and how it influenced the planning of farmers.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. So it's quite ironic that after a few years of severe drought, we've come into a normalized rainfall period, and then suddenly we had this event in this planting season. So what that's done is it's thrown a lot of it into disarray because farmers couldn't get into fields. The planting season itself was affected by geographic reasons. So the rain as such is not bad. I mean, we always need rain, like you said, but the problem was when it gets too much, you can't get into your fields. It's literally impossible to get into fields. So you find in a lot of areas, farmers planted a lot later than they normally would. And in certain areas on the extreme side, we've had farmers that had to switch crops. So whereas you would have planted maize and completed your planting by a certain date, that dragging on has unfortunately led to them having to switch commodities. Maize to sunflower, for example. That does better in the later planting season as opposed to maize. So we've seen that in commodities. We can't plan for these events, but what we need to do is have the plan B always. So they've done extremely well, our farmers, in being able to switch plantings, and that we think is really it's gonna keep us going from a food security point of view. So we're not in trouble yet from that point of view. So we don't see any damage as a result of the rain. There are certain areas that are affected, but overall we're not too concerned just yet.
Now, Doctor, can I come to you and please talk to me about what livestock farmers should be on the lookout for, especially in wet seasons?
Thank you, Tony. As you said earlier, though rain is a very good welcomed event for farmers. Unfortunately, it comes with a lot of parasites and a lot of insects that transmit disease to animals. And we live in the tropical region. We have a lot of disease that are transmitted by ticks and mosquitoes and many other pests that we live with. So the farmers have to be very aware of the fact that they need to prevent all this disease and all these pests that could bring a lot of disease that will cause a lot of mortality and destroy the productivity of their livestock.
So preparation is key.
Preparation is extremely key, and I think health program should be put in place way ahead. It should be a continuous event for a farmer, a livestock farmer. It should be able to have a program that would help them prevent any occurrence of vectors that will transmit diseases.
Now, Louis, how do breeders and also auction houses view weather patterns and how they influence the buying and selling of livestock?
Yes, Tony, I think the influence of weather patterns on the livestock industry is very big. As we know, as livestock farmers, you must first be a grass farmer before you can be a livestock farmer. So with the lots of rains that we had, that's of course good for us because our grazing capacity increases. So that's the positive about it, and that also creates a big demand. And when we have a big demand, then obviously the prices goes up, and that's what we have been seeing for the last 3 years after the drought. But as as Dr. Dungu said, one of the biggest challenges we also face when we are going into wet seasons is the parasites and the diseases that comes together with the rain. And we've already seen lots of lumpy skin disease and stuff like that, and something like Rift Valley fever is always a big scare for us when it's in the wet season. So that's having a very big impact and can lead to livestock losses. And I mean livestock losses especially in communal areas where their health management plans is not always up to date, can be very severe and can cause a lower demand in cattle.
So, Nico, listening to what the other gentleman is saying, how does a farmer adjust their projections mid-season? And obviously that will affect their cash flow.
Yes, definitely. As Praveen said, when an event like this occurs, you need to adapt, you need to change quickly, and that obviously will have an impact on your cash flow. I think what is important is that the plan B that you refer to is communicated to the stakeholders, specifically the financiers. It is common practice that most of the inputs of farmers is being financed via either the banks or then other institutions such as the co-ops. And you need to keep them abreast of your change in plans. Fortunately, the saying goes, wet damage is always better than dry damage. So you can make more plans in a wet year than what you can do in a dry year from a crop cultivation perspective. So there are alternatives that you can do, but as I say, then on an early stage already, when you start changing your plans, make sure that you inform the banks or your financiers of the changing plans. Many times there are terms and conditions pertaining to the finance that was granted that you are allowed to cultivate a certain crop, and there's certain costs involved or attributed to that specific crop. And when you change crops, then there's a different cost structure that comes into play that might change the finance needs. So you need to be sure that the finance guys are also aware that they can change their plans accordingly. Something that will happen, and again, the example that Praveen used, if you change from maize to sunflower, for instance, the time of harvest will also change. So the way that your cash will come in will also change, and you need to make everybody aware of that.
Jens, let me get a quick comment from you just before we close this. And Louis, you spoke about a livestock farmer being a grass farmer first.
Yes, I think take advantage of the wet seasons, improve your livestock capacity, but be ready for drought with good management.
So, Doc, what's your last word to a budding livestock farmer out there?
I would say to have a very effective health program, prevention and planning are very critical. Vaccination programs should be in place irrespective of the weather season.
So, Nico, if I heard you correctly, communication is key for you.
Yes, I think don't keep the change in plans that you have for yourself. Make sure you take your stakeholders on that change journey.
So, Praveen, your advice to a farmer out there?
Yeah, keep a close eye on the market, take advantage of price spikes, and hedge as much as you can, as quickly as you can.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on African Farming.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mzansi, I can't wait to meet more farmers as our African farming journey continues. So be sure to join us again next week. And please don't forget that you can catch us on #AfricanFarming and also visit our website, africanfarming.com. Mzansi, remember that we farm better together.